itaw tao mami.
Otsu alutung itaw tao mami.
Otsu alutung itaw tao mami.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Cepeda. I am a research associate for the Ifan Lalayan Oral History Project based here out of the University of Guam. And I'm also a Chamorro teacher at Simon Sanchez High School. Since I was young, I always had an affinity for the language and the culture. However, there weren't that many venues for me to explore. But my grandmother, right, on my mother's side, did make sure that I was always around the language. And so I was very close to her. And so she told me that I should learn Chamorro. And so that's what prompted me to learn. And from there, since I was 13, that's when I took a serious approach, and I started reading books, reading history books and all of that, and coming to my own conclusions about certain cultural aspects and events. And so it wasn't until the year 1998, my cousin was graduating from GCC, and in 1998 the GCC graduating class did something that no other class has done before. What they have done was seek the assistance of a Mr. Leonard Uriarte, who at the time I did not know. And they had requested from him for him to teach them a traditionally styled chant. And so that has its own story in and of itself. That's his story to tell. But that night, I was in the audience. And as soon as they started chanting, wow, it was like nothing I ever felt before, nothing I ever heard before. And you know how hard it is to get people to quiet down, right? Immediately when they started chanting, the whole field house was silent. And they were listening and watching what was going on. And so there was this kind of a sense in the atmosphere that I can't really explain, but it's a very good feeling. And so they went on with their chanting, and I was blown away by it. It wasn't until the year 2006, I believe, that a good friend of mine, I saw him using the attire of the group. And so I asked him, hey, what are those clothes you're using? And he told me, oh, I'm in, back then it was known as Guma Paluli. Guma Paluli Ifan Lalayan, that was the name. But of course at the time I did not know. And so he said, oh, I'm in Guma Paluli Ifan Lalayan, you should check it out, because my friend knew that I was looking for something like this. And so he told me where they practice, which is at the university, at their agriculture building, still to the same place till this day. And I went there and I met Mr. Uriarte, and then, I was kind of shy and all of that. Like, I introduced myself, excuse me sir, may I please observe your practice? And he said, of course. He welcomed me with open arms. And when I sat and I watched while they were practicing, I was just like, wow, in amazement, like, wow, this is that familiar feeling. And then at the end, right, I didn't reveal myself yet, right, how much I liked it. Of course, I maintained my composure and asked the same questions I asked everyone else. And to my surprise, he answered them to my full satisfaction. He even elaborated on some of the things I had to ask. And then, it's like, well, this seems similar to the style that was in GCC 1998, the graduating class. And he said, oh, that was us. I'm like, I've been looking for you since 1998, right? I finally found you, sir, right? 2006, from 1998 to 2006. I've been looking for you since then. And he said, sir, I introduced myself again, right? I said, this is my interest. I have a very strong interest in the language and culture. If you have space in your organization for me, I would love to be a part of it. And so that's when I started chanting in 2006.
Hugi janga fulu nalajak Man mama nyo ita mong itasi Fananga isagwa hagodnya Fananga
Chanting, really, people today see chanting as a form of entertainment. However, in the old days, that wasn't the case at all. Although it is entertaining to see and to hear, to witness. Chanting is really an old way of preserving history, cultural information, and old words. It encapsulates the language of the time period and whatever snapshot in time they're trying to take. And so, especially in traditional societies that previously did not have writing, chanting served as the oral literature, if you will. And so that is one of the mechanisms they use to pass down information from generation to generation. In addition to, of course, telling stories and speeches and whatnot. But a chant would have that information and so much more, also accompanied by whatever feeling the chant invokes, you know. And so there's so much more to the chant. We owe it to ourselves and to the ancestors in which we represent, the people that we're teaching and the people that they will in turn teach, to do a good job and to do as best of a job as research as possible, to give them the most accurate information. The past, we owe it to them to represent them accurately as best we can and to honor them in that way. The future today, you deserve to know the most accurate information and collect. We need to collect as much as we can now while we can. And the future will inherit all that we create at this point in time. And so in today's modern culture, you said, in today's modern culture, it has been incorporated greatly. More young people are learning about these things, but once again, with certain things, we need to stop and re-examine it, because a lot of what is being taught is taken directly out of books and taken at face value. And so this is what some people have done. What we try to do in Ifandalai is take those very same sources and reinterpret it through the indigenous perspective, using our language, our knowledge of our culture here, our knowledge of the Pacific, right? Our brothers and sisters in the Pacific, and our knowledge of Asia, where we came from, right? To come to a formula to try to produce what we have created.
Ininalati ihaligi.
Ihaligi, ihaligi.